Confidence through action. That's what we're going to be talking today about here at the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Kiles, and we are powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. Hey, and I just wanted to walk through something that has been a pretty constant conversation here over the last few days with all of the great loan officers that I'm talking to. And by the way, thank you so much. So many of you have jumped into my calendar. We've had great conversations from California to Florida, from both coasts. And literally, I have enjoyed so many conversations over the last several weeks. And so, thank you for jumping in my calendar. Thanks for having a great conversation. Thank you for being a part of this community. I feel blessed to be able to be a part of your story and just to be a part of the journey. So, thank you for doing that. Hey, I do want to ask you this. If you would, do me a favor. I don't ask for a whole lot, but would you go wherever you consume content right now, whether that's Apple or Spotify or, wherever you're consuming this podcast, take literally 60 seconds, give me a review, and then just drop a quick line on it and share it with one of your coworkers or one person that you know would get great insight and feedback from this podcast. It'd be a huge help for me because when you do that, it helps us on the rankings. It helps us get the word out. And that's the thing I'm going to ask you to do in this episode for me. And it's a personal ask. Go out, rate me, get me a review wherever you're consuming the content, and share it with a coworker or a friend that needs to hear this today. And the topic we're going to talk about is this: confidence through action. And, it's interesting. I get asked all the time, Carl and I and somebody will be on the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, or I'll be in Loan Officer Blueprint or one of the coaching calls that we're on. And somebody will say, man, I just need more confidence. What can I do to get more confident in making outbound calls? So, look, our goal is not that you make cold calls. Really, if you structure it right, you shouldn't be making that many cold calls unless you're brand new. And even if you're brand new, there's strategies and ways to prevent yourself from having to make a ton of cold calls. But when I call, hey, I don't feel, here's what I'll hear. I'm not really quite sure what to say. I don't feel confident in what to say. I don't feel 100% comfortable. And so sometimes, I'm not sure about picking up the phone, or man, I get up on Tuesday and I know today is Just Ask Tuesday updates when I'm following the daily success plan. And here's what I know is I got to call my listing agent, got to call the buyers. I get to, not got to, but I get to call the buyer's agent, the listing agent. I get to call both buyers on the transaction, title, insurance. But man, I'm a little apprehensive because oftentimes I'm just stuck with, oh, what do I do? What do I say? And that's what I love about the daily success plan is we'll give it to you, the exact script and exactly what to say. But here's one thing that once you've got it, my encouragement is this, and this is a phrase I've been hovering around, is confidence grows by doing, not preparing. Take massive action. Confidence grows. So your confidence in what you're doing grows not by preparation, but by doing. It's so interesting. I'll hear somebody say, yeah, I'm studying the scripts, I'm studying the plan, I'm working to get it implemented, and I hope to start making these calls in a couple of weeks. And I'm saying, okay, that's one strategy. But what I have genuinely found is the better way is to take action while you're preparing, because in taking massive action is how you'll actually get confident in what you're doing. Let me explain this. I can remember like going to the gym. I'm sure everybody who's listening today can think about a time where you went to a gym or committed to working out. Maybe it's CrossFit or Iron Tribe, or you decided to go to a gym, or you went to a strength and fitness type of environment. And here's what happens is, think about this. You walk in the gym and you've made a commitment. Hey, for the next year, and that's why I love time commitments, is because when you put a time to it, my feelings don't drive the activity. My commitment drives the activity, whether I feel like it or not. And I can remember for me, there was this, it was like, you know what? I'm going to commit for 1 year to go to a 5 a.m. class. I get up at 4:30, and I don't care if it kills me, I'm going to do it. And I remember, man, walking in, And the first time, there's a bunch of people. I don't know them. It's a little odd, a little awkward. I feel out of place. Then we start doing some lifting, some push-ups, some pull-ups, and I'm not real confident at all. I'm like, man, this is I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but here's what I know. I'm committed to doing it. So I'm going to show up. And day one, I didn't feel very confident. Day two, I still didn't feel very confident and still awkward, out of place, not great conversation, sometimes terrible form, didn't know exactly what I was doing. But here's what I knew. I had a commitment to getting stronger. I had a commitment to getting healthier. I had a commitment to gaining more energy. I had a commitment to make sure that my body is in a place where I'll have a long and a fruitful life. And that commitment overrided or was stronger than my inconvenience and lack of confidence and discomfort. And oftentimes, but hey, and let me finish with this. Guess what? 30 days in, I felt a little more confident. Was I fully confident? No, I don't know. I felt like I was making progress. How about 60 days in? Oh my gosh, I'm starting to get this thing down. And listen, even getting up early in the morning, much easier. And I'm starting to enjoy how I feel. I'm starting to see a little bit of the results. And what that's doing is compelling or pulling me forward into look, discipline over time turns into a motivation. It's like a man, I get to do this every day. At first, it's always discipline. And then when you do it over time and you gain a little bit more confidence because you're doing and not just preparing, you actually turn into desire where it's like, man, I'm enjoying this. This 5 a.m. class is great. I'm building camaraderie. I'm building relationships. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting better in my form. My body is starting to see some results. And here's what happens is 90 days in, man, I'm moving with some real results. 120 days, I'm starting to get a little bit of a six pack and I'm saying, man, this is great. But oftentimes, if I would have started and said, hey, I'm going to prepare, I want to figure out, let me research what it is to throw a medicine ball up and how do I have great form. And I'd have spent months preparing. Hey, I'm going to figure out how to eat right. I'm going to figure out how to get up in the morning. I'm going to figure out when I get there, what do I do? The problem or the challenge that I see is so many people spend time preparing, taking massive time to prepare. I'm going to prepare this week, next week, and the next week. Then I'll make calls. I'm going to prepare this week, and then I'll actually have my realtor appointments. I'm going to prepare this week, and then I'll start making my Tuesday Just Ask update calls. I'll prepare this week. Then I'm going to start calling my database who already knows, likes, and trusts you, and they want to hear from you. But it's this lack of action because I'm so busy preparing, because I think the preparation is going to give me confidence. And what we find is this preparation helps with confidence, but it's the massive action that gains confidence. And that's where the confidence grows. Because look, here's what happens is, man, I make the first 10 calls, they're okay. And probably one of them's bad. But I make the next 20 calls, I'm getting better. And what happens is I keep my preparation. Like for me personally, when I'm learning a script and I'm learning a process, I've got a second monitor with a document that's up even right now. And it literally says scripts, design conversations. And what I'm doing is I'm always learning the scripts and the process. And so when I'm making those calls, I have that worksheet up and it's bullet pointed with the scripts I need for that call. And then I'm just pounding out calls. I'm making phone calls. I'm doing Zoom calls. I'm doing Zoom meetings. I'm doing face-to-face meetings. And what I'm doing is in taking the action, reviewing my notes while I'm taking action, I'm getting better. And I'll tell you, for me personally, there's a I have been meeting uh, what I'm doing in so many of these great meetings, and I've been working on design conversations and how to get them more effective. And this for me, like over the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, I've had, I kid you not, probably 60, 65 appointments. And at first, when I was working on a framework of what to say, what I did was I worked on it very quickly, like literally within a few days. Actually, I'll tell you how I did it. Over on a Friday, I just over the weekend started putting together the framework and the scripts. And on Monday, guess what happened? I already had appointments booked with the new framework and scripts. And my first calls, it was so funny. I text one of my friends and I'm like, man, it wasn't very good. Look, the person that's known in this industry, I'm your friend. What I'm known for is scripting and process and structure. And even Steve Kyles, literally 3 and 4 weeks ago, when I was doing some of these other new appointments, was getting in these appointments. And although they weren't terrible, I knew they weren't effective. And what I've learned, even it's just re-emphasized, and I want to communicate to you is look, I'll tell you this week, now in it 3 or 4 weeks, these calls this week went amazing. I mean, like I'm jumping up and down, shooting text saying, dude, these were great calls. We're getting more partners and relationships. And what happened is, had I waited 3 or 4 weeks ago and said, I'm going to perfect these scripts, perfect these processes, I wouldn't have been taking massive action and even doing it a little uncomfortable, a little bit afraid, a little bit with reluctance, a little bit saying, man, that wasn't a great call. But guess what? Every day, when I'm on these Zoom calls or when I'm on these phone calls or when I'm in this appointment, I'm going to have my cheat sheet with me. And as I'm taking massive action, I'm committing to memory the design conversation, committing to memory the framework of how that qualified agent appointment goes. Like, okay, and then hold on. As I'm doing that, I'm just getting better as I'm running. I'm getting better as I take massive action. I'm getting better as I'm running instead of standing still. And so that's one of the things I just want to implore you. Don't get caught in preparation without taking massive action, because confidence grows in the doing, not the preparing. And so look, let me give you one example. Here's a practical take home, and then we'll get out. If I were learning how to have a powerful call with a qualified agent or a powerful face to face meeting, I would learn the framework first. And I wouldn't learn it, I'd type it out, put it on a document on a second screen so that when I'm in a Zoom call with an agent, I can see the framework in the scripts. So, number one is my framework would be the 4 parts. Number one, set expectation. Number two, I'm going to honor them. Number three, I'm going to be curious. Number four, I'm going to close for business or commitment. So here's what I would do is I'd write those 4 things down. And now I'm going to put my little script within each one of them. For instance, whenever I set expectations, here's how simple it is. Right underneath it, I'd have a bullet point and it'd say, in this 30-minute coffee. That's how I set expectation. Then I would be honor them. I saw your buy sides and you're absolutely crushing it. You're one of the top 4% of agents across the country out of 1.6 million agents. That's what I would put for honor. And that's my bullet point. I don't have to remember it verbatim. I just got to know that's what I'm trying to convey. You're crushing it. I'm a student of success. I got to hear your story. You're a top 4% out of 1.6 million agents. Now, next one. In the next part of being curious, I'm going to frog them. And in the frog, it's FROG, family, recreation, occupation, goals. And one of the things I want to do is that's it. I just got to get through each one of those family, recreation, occupation, goals. And for me, this is a bonus because we've been talking about it, the origin story. In that section too, what I would do is I'd do frog. Did I hit the origin story? I do, family, recreation, occupation, goals. And go back and listen to one of the previous episodes here of just a few weeks ago where we talked about going deeper in the relationship. So I'd make sure I put get the origin story on 3 in when I have frog. So that's my framework. And then on the close, it would be one of 2 closes. Who do you have today that I could help you get pre-approved? And the next one would be, hey, would you mind if I follow up from time to time? And I'm going to choose the close based on how the call goes. So that's how I just build a real quick, simple framework with the scripts written out. And I can't put more than what I can see on a page. I don't want to overwhelm it. It's meant to be a guide. And then guess what I do? I spend the weekend, I look at it, I think about it, I study it. Monday, I run into my calls and I take massive action. And what'll happen is you're going to fumble through it the first 10, 15, 20 times. But when you get to 30, 40, 50, 60, dude, it starts to get fun because you're like, now it's a part of my language. Now it's a part of who I am. Now it's a part of how I have a qualified agent relationship meeting, which is exceptional because I've been executing and taking massive action instead of just spending all the time preparing. Very little time preparing, massive time taking action and doing. And if you'll do that, you'll see massive success. And here's what's really cool too. For all of our Freedom Club and MMA Jumpstart members, I've already done a lot of this for you. So there's a section in the website. It's called Beyond the Basics. And I walk through the simple framework of how to have a powerful first call, how to have a powerful first agent, qualified agent appointment. I walk through how to have a loan consultation and how to have a lock-in call and pre-approved and looking. And so much of this, you don't even have to go and prep it and listen to it and type it out like I do. I've already done it for you. And so you just go into the membership site, go to Beyond the Basics. You'll find it there. Hey, and if you're listening, you say, hey, what are you talking about? I'm not a member of the Mortgage Marketing Animals. Go to freedomplanningcall.com, freedomplanningcall.com. And myself, Kristen, Carl, one of us will jump on a 45-minute call with you, and we'll walk you through what like how we've built these frameworks and how you can already have the done for you content so that you're not spending hours prepping. You're literally taking massive action to get massive results. Freedomplanningcall.com, freedomplanningcall.com. So hey, I hope this helps. I really wanted just to share, man, confidence grows by doing, not preparing. Don't get stuck preparing and getting ready for something. Take massive action. You'll see massive success. And remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.